a few seconds. Once we played a match of Dan and he didn't have a crouch button. True story.
Yeah, I have everything is customized.
What is your crouch button?
It is backslash, I believe. Well, no, it's Z. It's Z.
Dan is an ESDF player as opposed to WASD.
Yeah. It's where my pinky is always resting, is where the crouch is.
Enough about Dan. It is pistol time. Ninjas in Pyjamas got 4 men on Kevlar. Get Right is going to have the smoke and diffuse kit. DAP style. His signature utility on a CT side of a pistol. Glaive and Dupree will be the grenade men for Astralis. They are the aggressors on this occasion. 3 towards B, 2 towards A for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Then we'll spot one towards the toilet, and now he's dead.
He has been robbed of his life. Lecro on the bomb site now looking to defend, do a better job, but he can't. Nice shot from Magisk. And these Glocks have done some good damage onto this A bomb site. Nice frag from Forest to try and make it slightly easier, but Magisk will just make it harder again. So CTs are locked out of position. And this is pretty much how the first 2 pistols went as well on Inferno. Whereas with 1 frag, but that might be it here unless... No, actually Magisk, his reign of tyranny has been put to a halt for now. Rez has really got a lot of time against him. Does have the smokes. Oh God, pulling the grenade out in the open. So hopeless, that situation. He did what he could. He got some extra money out of it, but ultimately, yeah, it was pretty similar to the first pistol rounds on Inferno for Astralis. Crushed it. It didn't really look like there was much fight in it for NiP. So every single half, Astralis so far have gotten to start off with, you know, the perfect scenario, and it's got to feel pretty bad if you're NiP, James. Can't catch a break.
What do they have in store here? 5 man on road, up the long position. It's kind of like a reverse anti-eco strat. This will be a surprise for Devices. Oh, nope. I don't want any part of that. Now, I don't know how many he would have seen. Obviously, the radar will help in that situation. But if there is a read that they've all rushed long, then just move away. Rather than hold position in a non-essential place, take position towards the B bomb site and then hold the choke points together as a team. Don't want to lose a weapon in isolation. Device will stay back. But now he has T-spawn. This can be an exit strategy for, you know, once the bomb is about to go off, which is also important. So there's a good balance there. And now Dupree can try to farm with his Mac 10. Try and make some bonus money for the rounds to come.
There we go. Said bonus money being accrued. Not too much to talk about so far. Counter-Strike will begin in the following rounds when NiP get their buy-in. Again, it's worth noting that they went for the full save here, so they will full buy in this next round coming, third round. However, there are some shortcomings, as you can see, well, as you will be able to see in a moment. NiP will not be able to afford the... Well, they can't have the full levels of firepower that you want, as well as the full levels of utility that you also want. We'll see that the AWP will not be making an appearance. We're not going to have full AUGs as far as the rifles are concerned. Get Right's on a UMP just so that they can have some extra utility. So they're fighting from behind in that sense. And also 3 helmets missing. And considering that there's still a UMP in Glaive's hands and he's quite a dab hand with it, that might be an issue as well. So lots of corners being cut here for NiP, and it will make life quite difficult.
Yeah, it's a rough start. It's a hard start. But again, it's extremely early, so not terribly concerning just yet. Magisk looking for a boost. Look at the crosshair placement as he moves around. Quietly having a look towards short B, not wanting to give too much away. So what is the play from Astralis? Are they going to just creep through the tunnel and burst onto the site? This is highly abusive of the numbers game. From Glaive's position, he could throw a flash through, but he'll throw a flash over instead. And indeed, there's a lot of trouble now for Ninjas in Pyjamas. It's a 5-on-3 situation, but it'll soon be 5-on-4 and maybe 5-on-5. Never mind, Get Right, Lecro and Forest all taken out in quick succession, and there's no answer. There's no answer. You can't expect 4-man on road to just come in like that, and they won't win the duels, and there's not really anything for NiP to do at this point, apart from tries to hold on to their weapons. They have a combined $600 in the bank, so indeed it is extremely rough of a start for Ninjas in Pyjamas. It's a face against sandpaper.
Yeah, it does make me think about, like, again, I'm not being results oriented or anything like that, but you know, I feel like there's an argument to see NiP starting their CT sides, their first proper buy rounds with full weapons, with full utility, and that means that you're going to be force buying in that second round to achieve that. And I would like to see that, just because I think that it depends on your opponent. I think that against an Astralis, you do need to have everything. You need to have everything at your disposal to deal with them and get off to a good start. And we're not going to be able to see that just yet until the 5th round, perhaps. They did save a couple weapons, so they will be forcing it up. But you can see that the same problem persists here. They'll have some more utility, but they'll be lacking the AWP and even a rifle altogether on Lekro, so that's not fun.
We've got an aggressive take of short B from Ninjas in Pyjamas. They've got a 2-man setup, Get Right and Rez. Now, do they leave somebody in situ? Did they blow the door off? I'm not sure. Anyway, we've got action towards the toilets area. Dennis has been taken out, and indeed, I think the door was blown off. And this is a very aggressive take of the connector position. Sipex should be aware of this. Interestingly, if you're in connector, around the middle of connector, you can hear people running towards B just before the stairs go down that face monster, which is something to be aware of. Like on Inferno, we mentioned the speedway position and how you can hear things. There is a similar situation to be had on here, which I think less people are aware of, and is more of a rare occurrence on Inferno. Overpass, but it's good to be aware of stuff. You can see there is some baiting from Sipex. It's a big flashbang, but it's going to be quite taxing for Astralis to take this position. Basically 2 or 3 plays to clear it out, but the job has been done, and it's only 2 plays remaining for Ninjas in Pyjamas. And again, they're just not winning the duels just yet. That should have been a free kill for sure. Yeah. But here we are, Lekro 1 versus 5, and their money is still all over the place.
Yeah, so again, it kind of goes back to the point I was making, that if you look at the buys in which NiP have had, they've had such awful situations where they just are lacking a bunch of stuff. So they're like, okay, well, we have to play really passive here because we just don't have what we need to get aggressive. And then there, we have a situation where it's like, okay, we need to play a bit more aggressive because we're lacking the amount of utility that we might need to play more defensively and play a slower round. So let's take the initiative. But at the same time, it's a bit disjointed. You see Get Right's in a position where Astralis absolutely know what he's doing and can easily deal with it. They're moving together, Astralis, and just taking forward positions, entry fragging well. And as you said, James, on top of that, Rez there, it's Rez. Rez is so mechanically good. You really expect him to be very consistent in winning fights where he gets the first few bullets for free, for example. So a few signs here for NiP that are certainly not promising signs if you're a fan of NiP. But here's hoping that on the next full buy, which will be after this one, we're going to finally see NiP with a chance to play Overpass, because it feels like they have been shut out completely so far.
Yeah, I feel like the game has only started for one of the 2 teams at this point. And Ninjas in Pyjamas, I think the game starts for them in round number 6. The money will be together. They'll have all the toys they want, maximum loss bonus, and so on and so forth. Everybody able to full buy, no half buys, no shortcomings. So we wait for that to come. Now, Astralis move into the B bomb site. We don't have the SMGs anymore, so the kill bonus is 300. If Astralis can find any of these ecoing players. So NiP, it's worth them trying to just get some exit frags, mainly to steal some weapons away, just to save them some money in their own economy. Astralis are falling over cash at the moment, which really raises the pressure for NiP. So they will need to win consecutive rounds.
And it's worth noting too that Astralis have only died collectively 5 times. Both Sipex and Glaive have yet to die at all, which, when you're 5 rounds in, I mean, you can see, look at the money. that's the result. It's about to get even more crazy because everyone's going to survive here. Everyone's going to have like 10K. God damn, so much money.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, is that it's almost this, like, you feel like, oh, we'll get the buys and we'll get that 3rd round buy, we'll get the full save, and then we'll get this sort of I mean, you know, we'll save a couple guns and then sort of buy around that and all this kind of stuff. And it looks like you have these buys. It looks like you have opportunities to do something. But Astralis's utility usage and team play and timing, spacings, you know, so good that they're very strong at just dealing, like if they have an advantage, they're very good at leveraging that advantage and converting it into a round win. But here we get the double orbs coming in from NiP. But a fast round from Astralis, fast contact into the B bomb site. Forest gets the opening pick. Great grenade damage coming in from NiP as well, making life quite difficult for Astralis. And that is absolutely what you wanted to see. Astralis trying to punish this big buy of NiP with a fast timing, but it has failed categorically.
Glaive and Zipex remain. Glaive through Monster, Zipex outside, and Glaive will join him as they venture towards a short B position. A pop flash for Zipex to have a look to try and get something out of this. He hasn't gone for the deep peek just yet, and Dennis can still see, goes for the wide peek himself, and there are 4 players alive for Ninjas in Pyjamas, and just Glaive. Again, it's a question of damage at this point. NiP, I mean, Astralis at this point have probably 3 buys in a row if they lose every round, even by wipeouts, because the loss bonus will start to rise. So Ninjas in Pyjamas, they need to survive in the numbers. This is very important for them. Glaive has 1 minute to frag as many people as possible, so he is in no rush. There is a flank, however, and Dennis looking to shoot him from the back, but Get Right will take him out first. So that's more or less a perfect round for Ninjas in Pyjamas. I think 1 kill is a given, so they'll be happy with that. And it begins. This is the start for them. Never mind you can have a rough start. It's about how you finish. So that doesn't need to be in their minds anymore. They've got their first round on the board. The game has begun for them, and now it must continue.
I feel like it was a smart move from Astralis as well to go for a monster rush, just because obviously it didn't work out well. But if you know, theoretically, if you're expecting that there are going to be potentially double orbs in the hands of NiP, you're probably thinking that they'll be more likely to be aggressive towards A, so that can create weakened timings towards B in the early rounds for the CT side. And so Astralis were trying to exploit that, but Forest was there with the orb. And he was ready. Really important stuff there for NiP, but they must string together rounds. A 3-man setup here towards the bathrooms, towards the party and fountain position is quite strong.
This is pretty cool. I love these setups. MIBR used to have a lot of these. They don't use them so much, at least the ones that they used to. And that hasn't really worked out in their favor. They've been deleted.
That did not work out very well. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was supposed to leave them in like a 4 versus 2 or something. That's what that setup was effectively supposed to do.
It's an unlucky Molotov hitting the light. I feel like NiP will be not the biggest fans of Furia right now, all things considered. Or at least wishing they were on the other side of the bracket, but they are where they are. And Astralis are a team that, well, everyone needs to beat. But that is a really rough start. Again, they needed to win a lot of rounds. You win your first round, you go down 2 notches on the round loss bonus. So that is significant. And it is a case of trying to hide. This has turned into a rat's map now, looking for a little hole to crawl into for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Unfortunately, they will be hard-pressed to find one.
NiP just look a little bit like slow out of the gate today. For example, that setup, it's really cool, but we can see that after I think it was Get Right that died. I might be mistaken. Actually, no, it couldn't have been Get Right that died. I think Get Right is the player that was closest to the stairs, to Connector. So Get Right's sort of follow-up there was so laboured. Maybe there's a world where he gets 2 kills if he can actually get the first kill more quickly, but he couldn't quite find that angle and was having to spray like 20 bullets to find that one, and that extra time cost him. And it's just being a little bit slow that robs you of these opportunities that are so critical. And that's, again, that setup was designed to do way more damage here.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate for Ninjas in Pyjamas, but it was fantastic for Astralis.
Yeah.
NiP still able to buy. There are some limitations though. Get Right's got the automatic shotgun, which reminds me of Godby actually, because on like after winning a pistol, for example, he'd often be in connector with a shotgun for his team. One of his signature moves. But NiP not doing it out of choice necessarily. So we have a pop flash play. So where Zipex is standing is roughly If you see like a Carrigan era phase towards the end when they were doing double nades towards the sandbags where a CT would jump peak, they're roughly thrown from where Zipix is standing along that wall. You can find some videos for them online. Get right looking for those close quarters again. This received a buff where the pellets are closer together, so you can get a meteor shot if you are so fortunate. 3 players for NiP waiting in the B bomb site. They know there's presence from Astralis and short B. Astralis may be inviting some counter grenades if there are some, and there are. Bish Bosch, that's enough for Get Right to get 1 kill. Good kill bonus from that as well. He can't risk trying to retrieve that weapon, of course, and he will in fact fall back and rotate. His rotation will be heard though.
But they do have the man advantage. Zipix are looking to even things up in that regard. He will fail though. Letcrow defends, and there is more defense to be had as Astralis struggle to get this bomb planted. It's going to be more of a struggle there. Missed shot from Device will signal the end. Letcrow picks up the kill, and the round goes to NiP. So beautiful hold there from them. And that's cool. You know, we see them with that full buy. They've got the AWP, full utility. They're not playing any aggressive setups. They're just sort of playing more passively, and they get a round win from it. So that's beautiful stuff. It's a good way to stabilize. In the long term, as far as having really big CT sides on Overpass is concerned, you have to throw in the aggression here and there. But starting off passive is going to certainly be a boon to NiP, as we just saw. And you're right, James. It really does feel like, you know, this game didn't really start at all for NiP. They were completely out of it until the 6th round, which is not what you want.
Could be a lot worse though.
But
as long as you deliver afterwards, that's the important thing. There are many rounds for them to collect on their CT side, and they will need them going into the second half. It's a nice lineup from for the short B molly we saw from Zipix on the bottom left corner of the B. Lovely pop flash. I love watching Sluggies observing. To see the makeup of a round quite a lot. Rez, can he deliver another kill? Molotov's quite good. He's trying to anticipate a flashbang. He's got Get Right to save him there. And there's one more player to deal with. This is looking good so far, and now it's looking a bit less good. Glaive trying to make it look even worse. Get Right 75 HP, 3 versus 2 for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Get Right, Lecrow's moving into the short B position. So he'll try and, I presume, take care of B by himself. And NiP move into more defensive positions on A. Now, worst case scenario, if you wanted to bolster the B bomb site, you could take a position on the bank stairs and look diagonally to Optimus to make sure you don't get flanked. But of course, they have Lecrow in a good enough position on B where you can see through short B tunnel towards Monster, and they can focus on the A bomb site. 20 seconds for Astralis.
Zipix can't find it. Glaive can though. Already the time to do this. And there it is. Get Right holds it down and will deliver his 2nd kill for the round, and that'll be the 3rd round for NiP. So 3-6, and Astralis take a timeout. They've lost some of their momentum. The Swedes are back, and perhaps Astralis have to figure out how they can mix things up so they don't allow NiP to really solidify this momentum. And Astralis want to take away any good emotions, James. They want to demoralize, deflate their opponents as much as they can.
Ninjas in Pyjamas continuing to build. Money's not spectacular, but as long as you're winning rounds, then nothing else matters as much. So we'll soon see if that can continue. Some shoe game from Pissa in the back. Keeping white shoes white at an esports event. Rather you than me. Freya's got some Air Force Ones on. Props to her. She gets a star on the non-existent badge, shoe game badge. 3-round lead for Astralis, looking to stunt the growth of Ninjas in Pyjamas, looking to put chemicals in the chicken. Not too aggressive from Ninjas in Pyjamas. They won't go for anything like that setup, the 3-man setup we saw previously. Dennis spotting long, starting to move up now, as you can see on the radar, and it seems that Rez will probably take a longer angle for Dennis to clean up at short distance, should it be required. Get Right spotting around the toilets from the back, just having a jump peek behind the dice. There's a smoke to take vision away, and that isolates Dennis now. He's in a lot of trouble, and that is a beautiful take-off long by Astralis. And Get Right gets absolutely wrecked as well. I'm not sure where that came from, but there are big problems for Ninjas in Pajamas.
Yeah, they will require some clutch performances here as Astralis bear down on the bomb side, or at least it feels that way. Full attention from NiP with the full rotation of all 3 members ready to defend A, but Astralis rotating the bomb, of course, towards that B bomb site. So NiP are about to find themselves out of position. And it's a really difficult spot for NiP because they likely want to stack their players, so even if they're wrong on which side it's going to be, if there's any doubt, they just want to stick together, and they are sticking together on the A bomb site. And I can't imagine they try to retake this. And Necro will try to see what he can do, but I don't think they want to sacrifice more than one weapon for the cause. Necro with the spray almost looked like he was going to get Zipex there, but smoke is down and he will be dead. And they are fighting, James, but I don't know if this is worth it.
They were lining up, but Clutch Minister Zipex denies.
I don't know if it's worth it, James.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
it looks a bit tilty.
I mean, Necro can die, but after that, because this is the problem, because then you don't have any ability to keep the AWP because you need an extra player.
I mean, if 3 players save there, Lecro and Get Right have enough money, so you have a full buy.
It's a full
and now
buy,
they don't have a buy at all.
Yeah.
So that's a rough spot. But this takeoff long was absolutely beautiful. You see the setup from Ninjas in Pajamas. They've got the long range AWP. They've got the trade frag or just clean up position from Dennis. But these are very common positions, and Astralis' attention to detail isolates a player well beyond the point of no return. The flashbang timing is perfect. Eats the flashbang, eats the bullets. It's beautiful to watch. There we've got the Molotov again, as shown by Sliggy. Man like Sliggy. Known in the streets. 4-round lead for Astralis, looking to expand. But yeah, I do wonder about that. I feel like someone has to read that this is a low percentage position, and we could buy together in the next round if we hold on to these weapons, if we just move away.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a full buy, and if they would have lost this round, you know, and if they, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, I do know. I do know. I think you're right. It could be a little bit tilty. Everyone just kind of going for it. Perhaps a lack of focus there. And Astralis will be really happy with that, because I would say that previous round was a turning point, was a pretty huge turning point. We saw Astralis take the tactical timeouts because they started to lose that momentum. NiP was starting to stabilize, and Astralis have just found a way to break all of that goodness for NiP until there's no goodness left. And Forrest will try to save the AK. Looks like he'll be successful. It's a full buy in the following rounds, but Astralis will be up to 8 on their T side. Map 2 here in this best of 3. I got to say though, you know, NiP really struggling. There was an interview with Get Right quite some time ago where he felt like, or at least what the expression was that they felt like stylistically they matched up fairly well against Astralis. But we can see here today it's quite a struggle so far. Astralis have looked.
They're making statements.
They've looked by far to be the better team in every category.
They're out here making statements right now, Astralis.
There's been very limited clutch rounds, James. You know, we haven't really seen those intense clutch moments, 2v2s, after plants. Like it's kind of missing from this game.
Yeah, I mean, Clutch Minister's an easy go-to, but we haven't really had a reason to really make a solid reference to it. It's just been like a formality. It's like filling out papers in a doctor's GP or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like, the game is effectively coming down to the team before the individuals, if that makes sense. Because often, you start around that. It's 5 versus 5. It's about the team strategy, the team execution, the coordination, the spacing, the trades. But as you get to the later portions of the round, you get to these afterplans, and then it becomes much more about the individuals, the plays that they make, and the timings that they find, and the duels that they win. But we're not really getting as much to that point. It's often that the rounds are kind of over before we enter that kind of that phase.
That flashbang was supposed to bounce off the right-hand side of the lamp to flash people who are holding an exit of connector. Rez will hold down his position for now. That's a very important third frag. The aim is so awesome to watch with Rez. The adjustment was so quick, and it needed to be. This is exactly what NiP needed. 5 versus 2 situation, and Rez looking to do some more. Won't take that fight to the death, looking for a second player. So great awareness, not getting too excited with the frags. We'll go back eventually, though. Maybe there was a flash from a teammate, but that one didn't quite work out. They still don't know where the other player is carrying the bomb. That's Zipex. He's inside the toilets. And they will look to do a 2-man split of the A site.
It looked 2 guys didn't have helmets there. That's Rez killed, and Zipex doesn't have a helmet either, which is quite strange. Either way, D3 will try to take his aggression there onto the bomb site. It's only Zipex with any success, though, but he needs a lot more than that. Oh, I don't think he has time. And, well, he certainly doesn't have time now. Dennis picks up the kill in the round. So, really good defense there around the bathrooms from Rez, a multi-kill. That's the kind of stuff that we want to see. That's the kind of stuff you need to see from players in Rez's position.
Zipex has bought a helmet this time. I was wondering if it was like some kind of bind issue, maybe, because...
Glaver didn't have a helmet there. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe they wanted to raise the difficulty. 4th round on the board for Ninjas in Pyjamas. I think it may be a hard ask if they, well, even if they get 7 rounds on the board at this point. But we'll have to see. 1 AWP for this Swedish squad. No sniper for Astralis on the T side. We'll prefer the more nimble AK-47s and a Krieg for Magisk. Krieg with 100% armor penetration. Moving out of connector, there is a smoke around divider. Ninjas will create some space with the smoke in the same position, but it does deny them info.
Yeah, that smoke is so key in preventing the T's from splitting your position. Nice angle there from Rez. And that's beautiful. Again, your bathroom players have to be able to thin out the numbers before they can get to that A bomb site. It also thins out the utility too, because not only will it require more utility to deal with Rez, but also you've removed a player who perhaps dropped some nades as well. You can see one on the ground there, in fact. Smoke, I believe. Device will happily collect the rolling smoke grenades. And time is a problem now. There's 30 seconds to get this bomb plant underway. And Astralis need to get onto a bomb site. And here they go. Flashes around the corner. They know Rez is there. Rez tries to spray blind, but it doesn't work out. Quick underhanded throw across and a boost as well over the smoke here for Dennis with the AWP. And he's going to find one. Beautiful work here from NiP. Oh, more frags with the smoke. Great stuff, but more to be done.
I think Glaive was looking to punish the reload, but I think he realized that another player was there. That was Lecro. He's history now, looking for more Glaive. The spray is there. He's got cover for the reload. 2 players by the bank. And if they go around wide, Device might just find them with the Krieg now, picked up from Magisk. Very interesting situation. Glaive just dancing, trying to bait a shot. There is an elbow. Device, though, he's got 50 HP. Didn't manage to get the frag there. Might not be so familiar with the Krieg. There's a hero diffuse, trying to swing wide, but that's a big headshot from Dennis. I love the flashbang from Astralis in the first place on that angle outside of toilets. That was a beautiful start. This is a boost you don't often see, but that was pretty good. Get right with some damage through the smoke, and it's a 5th round on the board for NiP, a much-needed 5th round.
Yeah, I love how seamless the boost looked there. The communication was clearly very, very well put across. Get right, throws that underhanded flash over. They see the wall of smokes. They immediately know to go for the boost, which suggests that they have a protocol in place that, every so often, that's something that they're going to be going for, and they have the players in those positions. So that looked like that's the kind of round you want to see out of NiP. It looked really convincing. Everybody was sort of on top of everything. No sluggishness. And the Astralis' money has suddenly been brought to a weird position, but they're on the T side, so it's always workable. But we see a CZ Galil. Full utility, though. And that's what counts. So there's lots of options here on Overpass. That's why we love it.
Yeah, I think Astralis are one of the best teams to have a bad buy in terms of weaponry or a buy with shortcomings, because as long as they have utility, they can take position in a great many cases on the T side of many maps. So they can make up for it. They've got so much in the back, so much in the pocket, that they can still make things work out for them. They've got 2 smokes. Now, they could put a lurk smoke towards the site on the corner of this flower bed. That won't be the case, though. Dupree making his way through the smoke, but Rez isn't close on this occasion. He's changed his position, and that's going to be good for a frag. Dennis will deliver another one. So far, so good for Ninjas in Pyjamas. They've got a Molotov towards the toilets. A nice flick. Now the bomb's on the floor. It can be a full rotation. Forest takes Magic Scout. And NiP are in very good shape for the final round, as well as this one. So it may be 7 rounds after all. 5 scopes for the Swedish side, 4 orgs and the AWP. They'll look to keep it that way, and Lecro may soon find Device lurking by the Daffodils. Rez getting hungry for info. Itchy feet, perhaps.
Good work from NiP. They have quite the comeback here into the ends, the dying parts of this first half. And that's really good to see, because it did look sluggish. It did look like they didn't get really any action until that 6th round. And you feel like it could have been different if they treated their economy differently. And there was that round where they sort of threw away 3 weapons that they could have saved and all this. And if you imagine, you know, all that, and they still have this 6-8 with a strong possibility for the 7-8, you feel like perhaps there's a world where they could have got way more rounds on their CT side. So there is life in the old dog yet, and NiP looking to close this one out 7-8, which, again, all things considered, pretty damn good. Oh my god, the drive-by. Okay, this is Labors. Forest has to save the day. These Deagles, though, from Magisk are phenomenal. And now it's... What the hell just happened, James? Why is Dennis alone in a 1 versus 4?
That's quite a shocker. This is surely irretrievable. Forced to walk through the smoke as well. Dupree will see the barrel of the gun. That will be enough for 9 rounds for Astralis at half.
For them to manage their economy better. It felt like they were very sluggish getting into things. And obviously losing against that effectively, you know, half by at the end. It's not too fun either. So they've lost every pistol in dramatic fashion. Will this be the same?
Maybe, maybe not. This might be an important duel around the short B position. Magisk falling back to an almost crossfire situation, but a nice 1-tap from him. Early advantages for Astralis in the 2nd pistol of this game. Maybe the last one of the series. Who knows? 3 Glocks for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Get Right still sitting on a lot of utility, but where and how can they use it? Forest taking a shot short B, being jump peaked, it seems. 2 CTs per side. It's all about the headshots. No P250s for Ninjas in Pyjamas, at least on the remainder. I think this is a map of good range for a P250, but perhaps they have priority in different things. Flashbangs will allow Forest to creep towards Optimus, looking wide, getting exposed to Zipex will take him out. They'll get a bomb plant in the smoke at the very least, but this is not looking good for them. They can change quickly, but they've got to find these frags. 2 versus 4. Running out of bullets in the magazine. Just 2 bullets left for Rez, and he will be the last man to fall. And we're looking at double figures for Astralis.
So 4 pistol rounds, 4 pistol victories for Astralis. At least NiP got the bomb down. I think that's some kind of an improvement. I don't know that happened. I'm positive that did not happen on Inferno on the T-side pistol for NiP. I think they just got wiped out with only 1 player killed on Astralis' side. So that's something. But I hope this is one of those games as well where if NiP look back at it, they don't just think, oh, you know, we lost all the pistols. Because I feel like their decision-making after losing some of the pistols wasn't, or, you know, there's definitely room for improvement. But we'll see a few Deagles here. So this is just to keep the economic pressure up. You do need to get a couple kills, ideally, or a bomb plant. And I think a couple kills is more likely than a bomb plant, given the lack of utility in Kevlar. So we'll see what they can accomplish. blowing open the door. That's a smart move for the CTs. You can see now that Glaive can look through that door. All that free information. It's a good use of $300. And one of the things that NiP are looking for is an overextension for Astralis. But Astralis know this. They know what they're after. They know what NiP need to do, and they're going to make it as hard as possible for them to achieve their goals with what they have. They're going to force NiP onto a bomb site just by burning the clock. That's what Astralis have to do, and that's what they're doing pretty well. Although, Get Right, he's going to find a great shot.
Oh, what's he doing up there?
I think he caught the jump peak with the Deagle long range. That's not bad.
There's a lot of jump peeking going on, but there is not a lot of Kevlar on the side of Ninjas in Pyjamas, so they should be cut to ribbons in many cases. They will be hard-pressed to find these headshots. That smoke gives a little cover, but there might be a gap in it. You can see some spam coming through, but this should be a formality. 20 seconds remain. Ninjas in Pyjamas need to run to their doom. There's another kill for Lecro, but out he goes. Well, not kill for Ninjas in Pyjamas, only kill for Lecro. Forrest has 10 seconds. He better be aware of this because you can see Astralis are not showing. They want to win by timeout. I don't know if Forrest realizes just yet. 3 seconds. He's got no time to plant the bomb. They're running away. He'll pick up a UMP for his troubles, and everyone else can fall by, and he's on a UMP. So there's some poor timing there. I feel like if you've been fragged in the round, you have to give these cues to your teammates and just say like 15 seconds, 10 seconds. You don't need to say more than that. They understand the implications. But I feel like there was a lack of focus there in terms of timing, but there wasn't from Astralis.
I mean, one of the, maybe, you know, it's Forrest. He's such a experienced player. Perhaps, you know, that's just not something that you should need to do, potentially. Or maybe it annoys him, James. Maybe he...
Doesn't matter. Should be done
like,
anyway.
I'm alone. Let me play my round out in silence. But here it is. They've got the bind, they've got low utility, but they have some rifles. Big peek onto the pre. Good trade coming in though.
Some big damage to Magisk. And damage straight back to Get Right. He'll continue to exchange though. Communicating in Morse code, but it looks like gibberish to me. 4 versus 4, minute 10 as Astralis make their way past, sorry, NiP make their way past the balloons. Approaching the A site, not finding it, not seeing anybody spotting just yet. I don't think Device has seen Forrest, or has he? Perhaps not. An exchange of weapons. Magisk is expendable at this point, given the UMP low health. And here comes the execute from Ninjas.
This will be quite difficult to hold, actually, although there's not too much in the way of smoke, so maybe not. It's open season here on these NiP players as they start waltzing into the bomb site. No cover at all. Ran out of utility. And Astralis will just take him down. That sucks for NiP. You get right to the last hurdle, James, and then you trip over the very last one.
You get right to the last hurdle and then Astralis.
And then Astralis, indeed. And
they have double the score of their opponents at the moment. And it looks to get better for Astralis. Pistols and the 1 AK-47. The Hero AK, the purpose of this, I think, or mostly, I think the priority is to do big damage to the Astralis economy for the rounds to come. But obviously, best case scenario is winning the round. Not looking too likely at the moment. Glaive, birthday boy Glaive, is putting up some more numbers. But the AK's taken one out, and maybe there's a chance for another. Perhaps that gun is retrievable. Indeed it is. And now they've potentially doubled their aggression. Forrest, I wonder if he gives Dennis Diorg if he has an opportunity to, because he has no Kevlar. Forrest. Take the CZ. Go for some... Oh, he's got a Deagle anyway, so go for some long-range duels instead. Dennis can take a fight with the full armor. But Dennis is very far away at the moment, carrying the bomb through towards the fountain position. That scope will be heard by Dupree. And now the scope is gone. Now, he could use a HE grenade to send that rifle backwards towards long, so it can't be picked up, because, of course, there are other players who may want to do that. Although, easier said than done. He doesn't know what's around the corner, so it's not really safe for him to throw HE, but Lekro continues to do some damage. 25 seconds remaining. We have a rotation towards the B bomb site from at least one player. That is a very timely Molotov. And at this point, maybe he just wants to hold on to his AK-47. Although he's running towards the A bomb site. They do have Glaive at the back, but he will take the gamble, Lekro, maybe expecting a two-man rotation. Oh, that jump is not going to help, and Glaive will pre-fire before he gets around the corner. The plant will be denied, but they've all got the money to buy anyway.
It's a good effort from Lekro. He did what he could.
I think they did. They got a great result out of that.
Yeah.
3 kills with 1 AK purchased. That is good for almost $20,000 of damage.
But it is 13-6. So Astralis are on the precipice of a victory in this best of 3. And I'll get the game sound back in a moment, as we have ourselves a default from NiP spreading out across the map, harassing everything. Astralis with the take on sewers, though. You get a lot of really useful information having players so deep as this. And the great thing as well is once you've taken it, you can effectively leave a player there and have sort of minimal support from the site and sort of cheat more players towards A. It's something that you can go for, but Astralis are playing it pretty conservatively. They've fallen back to the B-bomb sites now. And everything that Astralis are doing really is just, it just serves to slow down their opponents, which is fantastic, because what happens then eventually is that time pressure creates a situation where the Ts have to cut more corners, and that's really good for you as the CTs on the defense. This is looking like a great setup here in the bathrooms. dupreeh just has to sit there.
Device on the outside. Device and dupreeh, the double Ds. Just the one D now. As Device has been taken out. Lovely adjustment by dupreeh. 4 versus 2 with 30 seconds on the clock. Some jiggling. Dennis manages to get a kill, but can he get a bomb plant out of it? Forrest trying to do what he can, but now he's the last man standing. Dennis trying to help, but he couldn't quite do it. Forrest down to the Glock, and he almost gets there. 6 HP for dupreeh. 14 rounds for Astralis. Let's see what NiP choose to do. I feel like Forrest has accidentally bought an MP7. So... or maybe he hasn't. That was a pretty quick buy of the MP7, though. But it seems they will continue.
Yeah, no luck for NiP just yet. They can't afford to have as slow a start as they did on the first half, although it's already pretty much there. And oh my god, look at this. 5 grenades. That's, I mean, you can't count the decoy really, but 5 grenades at 140 to work with on the T side. Surely someone could have bought a Galil so that there would be more nades. Surely, James. Just 1 Galil instead of 1 AK here for the additional nades. But no.
Yeah, I feel like you need to have something prepared for a round such as this. They're less than ideal rounds because they do happen, and if you can prepare for them with a certain amount of utility, then that can go a long way. 2 smokes and a flash. They will try to use the numbers. I love that push we saw from Astralis with 4 players in the monster position. Look how they're creeping, almost crab walking. Get right, gets taken out. They're trying to swarm now, but the swarm is somewhat slow. It's stunted. And again, I feel like this is very on the fly, and the flies are being swatted at the moment.
Yeah, it's difficult because they left the bomb towards T-spawn whilst 4 players are pushing into the bomb site, which means that it kind of seems like it's not very well thought through, just because you're living and dying by that B bomb site push. Because there's no utility. Yeah, you're 100% committed. So you might as well have the bomb with the push there. And instead, the lurker has to go back to get the bomb. which is not ideal. So it just seems like the plan for the rounds doesn't quite make sense in some of these cases. So there's just so much that's not going in NiP's favor, and also at the same time it feels like they are out of ideas. Especially if they're buying up so many AKs and no utility, you're basically making it so that you don't have options. If there's no utility, there's no options on Overpass. Overpass, you need utility. It gives you a lot if you have it, but if you don't, you're just subject to this. Device can just freely peek you because there's no smokes, there's no flashes, there's no molotovs, there's no a way to trade him.
I don't think Astralis have ever felt threatened in this entire series, which going into further matches is just going to have them brimming with confidence, which is not a good sign for anybody else in this tournament. So this is quite terrifying to see. A flying Device trying to finish things off has not really baited a shot just yet from Dennis, who definitely knows he's there. It's a big pre-fire from Dennis, and he has a lot to do. He's collected the bomb. 3 players. They know exactly where he is. This is a great example of when there's only 1 player left, you can take hyper-aggressive positions because you know it's safe to do so. You can see Magisk with an off-angle in, connector hasn't been spotted just yet. And that's going to be that. 16-6, Astralis, again, never really threatened in this entire series. It was a very nice day in the office for them.
Yeah, and I think so much can be said for the fact that if you just look at what the series was missing, I think the fact that it was missing any real clutch scenarios really tells a huge tale, because if all else fails, as long as your strategies are working, if you can at least get your players into some clutches. And sometimes a series will be defined by who wins the clutches.